Oh my God, it was beautiful. But there were people in the ceiling, and I said, they were smiling and singing too. So as I was singing Jesus, these people were in the ceiling, like in a sky, and they were singing too. Hello guys, welcome back to Refining the Fire. I'm Tracy Renee. I'm just going to share some dreams that I've had recently with you guys. I wanted to take some time to pray and to think on it and really think, and just find out if it was okay for me to share it with anyone. I would say a lot of these dreams that I've been having lately are kind of like warnings, and not just warnings, but some of them are about open doors, some of them are about beware of people. But let's just get into it. I don't want to waste too much time. I just want to jump right in. And so if you're a dreamer like I am, I've been a dreamer since as long as I can remember, please have a notebook by your bed. Keep a notebook by your bed, because you're not going to remember all of the details that are needed if you don't write them down. And sometimes I write it down and I'm still half asleep. So when I look at my notes, like how I'm looking at these notes, it looks like chicken scratch. Okay, it looks ridiculous. And I actually have a book that I rewrite all my dreams in. That's what I'll probably do with this, is just rewrite it in my dream book. So recently, you guys, I had a 3-part dream. My alarm went off. I was so tired, so I turned the alarm off and I went back to bed. And I had these 3 dreams, one right after the other. The first dream was I was going to this store. Now, I don't even go to Chinese stores to pick up food. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Most people just get it delivered if they want Chinese food. And so here I am in this Chinese store, and I'm waiting in line, another line. Can you believe it? Now, God must be saying something about waiting, lines, not getting out of line. It's a whole thing. So this is another dream about me waiting in another line. Anyway, I waited in line yet again, and I'm in the Chinese store, and there's a long line, another long line, and I'm coming to pick up my food. So I've already called it in. I'm just there to pick it up. But to my left, there's a whole bar inside of the Chinese store. Like, I've never seen anything like this before. It's an entire bar, and people are waiting, trying to be served. Some people are sitting at the bar, they're talking or whatever. And a celebrity or somebody comes in, and so people are starting to like scramble around, like, oh my God, they're here or whatever. And because I'm being nosy, this is so not like me, because I'm so introverted and I just be like minding my business. But in this dream, I wanted to be nosy. So I step out of the line. Don't do it, y'all. I step out of the line and I go over to see what they're talking about. And while I'm over there, I'm trying to figure out like who this person is, and I'm looking and I'm like, who is it? And while I'm doing that, it's somebody taking pictures, and they're like taking pictures of everybody that's standing around. I'm like, no, don't take my picture, because I don't want nobody to see me, because it would look like I'm at the bar with everybody else. I'm like, no, don't take my picture. And they're just snapping away, and the lights is going off. It looks like they're just taking pictures of me, and I'm like, oh my God, why am I over here? And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to get food. And I'm trying to explain to the people taking pictures that I'm trying to get food. But it don't look like I'm trying to get food, because I'm at the bar with everybody else. So the first thing that I want to say about that dream is, again, if y'all haven't gotten it from the last time, don't get out of line. Don't get out of line worrying about what else is going on over there, what somebody else is doing, what somebody else is saying. Stay in position. Stay focused, because you'll say for instance my number was up, or they were ready to give me my food. I would have never known, because I'm over there in somebody else's business. You see what I mean? So even the word says this, for us to live quietly and mind our own affairs and our own business. Like, just stay focused. Don't get too wrapped up in all of the chaos. And then after that dream, the second dream, I usually don't have these type of dreams, but this dream, it's important because it's a warning. It's a warning, and it's also a teaching. But if you get a little freaked out by scary dreams or whatever, you have nightmares, then you might not want to listen to this. But it's not that deep. So just listen. I just wanted to put that warning out there. So I had a dream that this lady was like, I was on the floor and another dream with me on the floor. This is like twos. I feel like this is like, these dreams are just twos and twos. But anyhow, I'm on the floor, and I've only been on the floor in one other dream, and that was the dream for when I first got saved, when God, revealed himself to me and I was on the floor. But here I am on the floor. I don't know if I was sitting or laying, but across from me was this lady. And this lady was beautiful, like her frame, like she had long hair. She was beautiful, but she had black eyes, and around her eyes were really black. She looked like she was like part animal, part person, because the way she was slithering and sliding. In Genesis, it talks about the serpent. So she moved kind of like a snake. Like, she was very enticing and very alluring. And the way she talked, she moved her hands and moved her head. And she was very very enticing and very alluring, right? And she kept trying to make me look at her because she was so like with the black eyes and all of that. I didn't want to look at her. So like if you get afraid, like cover your face or whatever. And she kept trying to make me look at her in her eyes. And when I wouldn't look at her, I'm trying to read off of this paper, y'all. This is so much chicken scratch. Bear with me. When I wouldn't look at her, she started trying to speak images into my mind. So she started saying really like illicit things and very vulgar. She started speaking really vulgar, and everything she was saying was almost like a picture in my mind. It would pop up in my mind. And so she was speaking like images into my mind. Everything she said, it was like, and this is important. Be careful with what you're watching, because as humans, this is how our mind works. If I told you a story, just like I'm telling you this story, you're trying to picture it in your mind. So that's how the brain works. So everything that you take in, everything that you look at, everything that you listen to, it's creating something in your mind. And so when she couldn't get me to look at her, then she started trying to speak things into my mind. And wow. And so it was like, and I said nudity, sex, etc. And she knew exactly what to say. And this is the way the enemy is. He knows exactly what you struggle with. He knows exactly what you're attracted to. He knows all of those things. If you're a man and you like cleavage and big behinds and all of that, he knows all about it, okay? If you're a woman and you like that dark-skinned chocolate man with that beard and muscles and all of that stuff, he knows all about it. So he knows what to use to tempt you. Just be mindful. And the enemy can come looking like a woman, looking like a man. So in your dreams, it doesn't necessarily have to be the opposite sex trying to persuade you, because she wasn't trying to persuade me with herself. She was just trying to get me to think of all of this like nudity and sex and just all of these things. So this is like I said, it can be somebody of the same sex, somebody of the opposite sex, or whatever. The point of the matter is just beware of the enemy's tactics. He will use anything he can to try to allure you in, okay? So after she tried to speak these images into my mind, I immediately started singing. Now, I don't know how to sing, but I started singing Jesus. I started singing, like I was saying his name, but I was singing it. And I don't know what else I was singing, but I started singing Jesus. And as soon as I started singing Jesus, she disappeared, okay? There's power in his name, okay? There is power in the name of Jesus. No matter where you are, what you're doing, no matter if the enemy comes to attack you in your dreams or whatever it is, you can always say the name Jesus and the enemy is going to tremble, okay? The demons, the serpent, all of that, the enemy and all his little friends, okay? They're going to tremble at the name of Jesus, okay? They cannot stand against the Lord, okay? So when you're in a situation you don't know who else to call on, you better call on the name of Jesus Christ. So I started singing Jesus. She disappeared. And then it says people appeared in the ceiling. Get this, okay? First, I'm on the floor. There's a demon lady with black eyes, okay? She's trying to talk some stuff to me, saying all this stuff. Then I start singing Jesus. She disappears, and now there are people in the ceiling. The ceiling looked like a sky coming out of that. It was like 3D-ish. Oh my God, it was beautiful. But there were people in the ceiling, and I said, they were smiling and singing too. So as I was singing Jesus, these people were in the ceiling, like in a sky, and they were singing too. I don't know what they were singing, but they were smiling and singing too. And it reminded me of a choir or congregation, because it was men and women. It may have been children too, I don't know. But they were just singing right along with me. Okay, and then the Lord began to speak. I was still on the floor, and then the Lord begins to speak to me. This was what the Lord said to me. Okay, y'all paying attention? He said, hone in on your craft. Work your creativity. I've placed many skills and talents in you. There is so much more inside of you. Prepare, prepare, prepare. You don't have to step completely out in every area just yet, but begin to lay down the foundation. Prepare and study your craft. Do y'all hear that? I'm telling you, this is not just for me. This is for somebody else. I know it is. Because he's been saying prepare to you. I know I'm not the only one he's been saying prepare to. Listen, I'm going to say it again. The word of the Lord, hone in. This is what he said in my dream. After all this transpired, then he speaks to me. He says, hone in on your craft. Work your creativity. I've placed many skills and talents in you. There is so much more inside of you. Prepare, prepare, prepare. You don't have to step completely out. Let me say it again. You don't have to step completely out in every area, but begin to lay down the foundation. Prepare and study your craft. So whatever that is, if it's Facebook, if you are a writer, if you are a singer, whatever it is that you do, whatever skill, talent, gift that God has placed on the inside of you, begin to prepare and study that craft. Be the best at it as you can be. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. Just for instance, me coming on here, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just doing the best I can. I'm trying to do better and better each time. That's all I can do. So try to, whatever it is that you do, do it with excellence. Be consistent. Do it with urgency. Be steadfast in that thing and hone in on that creativity. If God told you, I called you to be a prophet, I told you you was going to preach, I told you you were going to be a singer and a writer and all, that doesn't mean you got to try to do all that today. Okay? God knows, where you are and what you can and cannot do, and he knows the situation you're in. He's aware of that. And he knows that there are different things that he's calling to you to do in this season. That doesn't mean he's going to call you to do everything in one season. But what he's saying is to start laying down the foundation. Start preparing for what he showed you. If it's moving, if you don't have the funds yet to move, start looking at houses. I remember when God told me he was going to give me a car. I didn't have a license. Matter of fact, I didn't even have a permit. I don't know if I told y'all this story before, but I didn't have a permit. I didn't have a license, and the Lord had gave a word that I was going to get a car. And I remember thinking, I'm trying to move. I don't need a car. Why are you trying to give me a car when I'm trying to move? This is the thing. God's thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways. He knew that I was going to need a car because I think I had got a job that was really far away, and it was no way I would have been able to get there without this car. And so this came before the job. So God knows what he's doing. So he was setting that foundation. He was preparing the way. You know what I mean? And so this is so important that you just start preparing. If you don't have, like I was going back to say, if you don't have, money to buy a home, start looking. You don't have money to get a car, just look at the cars. I went and sat in the car. I remember I took my mom with me, and she was like, you don't have a license or a permit, because something said go sit in the car. So I went and sit in the car. But through that, I started learning what type of cars I liked. I started learning more about cars. I figured out I didn't want a 2-door. I wanted a 4-door. I kind of had an idea what color I wanted. I was like, oh, I look good in this car. You know what I mean? These are the things you have to do, because the thing about it is, this is going to test whether or not you really believe God. Do you believe that God is going to give you that thing he told you he was going to give you? Because see, if you believe, you're going to prepare for it. And I don't know why I'm looking up there. I'm sorry, y'all. But if you believe, you're going to prepare for it. If you don't believe, then you're not. I just want y'all to be encouraged. I want you to stay focused. Going back to that first dream, stay in line. Don't hop out of line. God is about to do something miraculous in your life, and he don't need you in somebody else's business, paying attention to somebody else's story, worrying about what's going on, on social media, on this, the gossip and all of that. Stay focused on what God is doing in your life. Stay focused on what he's doing in you. You're just as important as all these other people. So pay attention to what he's doing right now in your life. Keep moving forward. You might be up next. And I'm going back through the dreams because I want y'all to get it. And the second one is, don't allow the enemy to entice you and allure you in with images and music and all of these other things that he will use to get you tied up. If you struggling with a certain addiction, or if you're struggling in a certain area, call on the name of Jesus. Ask God, speak to him, and ask him to deliver you, to help you, because he's always listening. And as soon as you begin to call on him, and as soon as you begin to submit unto him, then you can hear from him. You know what I mean? Then you'll hear his voice so clear, and then he'll give you clear instruction, and you'll know which way to move and how to move. I just thank y'all for tuning back in with Refining the Fire. I pray that you guys are blessed. I'm always interceding on your behalf, praying for you guys, praying that you are well, that you are blessed. Like, comment, subscribe. I know I don't have a lot of followers, but I'm talking to you guys as if I have a lot of followers, because I just know that God is going to use this channel to bless somebody. I love you. Stay tuned for more. Bye. Mwah.